Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Black Panther versus Ultron over a synthetic metal that causes other metals to melt. This is the Vibranium Vendetta. I am just so done with the way things are going right now. So I just figure, screw it. I'm talking about comics. Not just any comics, old, good comics. None of this trash that's being shoveled out to us nowadays. Comic channels on YouTube always go on about how modern comics are utter trash, which, don't get me wrong, they are. But they always say to go into the backlog of what's already been done in years prior and find the good stuff to read. Their problem is, I've never really seen them tell me what a good comic is, or showing the good stuff. I've seen plenty of comic channels mock and praise bad comics from the time, but as far as I know, you just have to go on hearsay of what could or could not be a good comic. And it's just so hard to find out where to go or what to start with. So, I'm just going to do it. A little backstory for those of you who have absolutely no idea how this industry works. So, DC Comics and Marvel, they will produce, for each superhero, they will produce one book of 22 pages each month. It fluctuates all throughout history, but it's generally about 22 pages, I think. I'm barely new to this too, you would be surprised. But, each month, 22 pages. However, each year, they will produce an oversized page comic book of about 64 pages. And these books will be called, rightfully, annuals. The story I am telling today, or going over today, was published at the time the 3 Spider-Man annuals. Yes, at one point Spider-Man had 3 separate books published for him. Well, actually, at one point, I think he's been up to 5 at one point. But anyway, this is the earliest publication of annuals. So, this happened when you only had 3. Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and I believe it's called The Web of Spider-Man. We open up with Spider-Man beating up what he believes to be thieves stealing from a college campus in the middle of the night. These would-be thieves are actually workers at an experiment at the college, and who are moving trash, I guess? Yeah, no, I know what it is. We'll just call it trash. It's melting metal items, basically. They're moving this stuff in big crates in the middle of the night. They're thankfully saved by their employer, Arthur Dearborn. Which, come on, if you didn't want your workers to be beaten up by a superhero. Why move your stuff in the middle of the night? Anyway, so Dearborn tells Spider-Man to rightfully piss off because, well, he's attacking his Ming. But anyway, so next morning, Peter. Next morning, Pete goes to a, what do we call this? Well, I guess it's a news conference that this lab was holding for the very experiment that these workers were throwing out. This experiment is put this simple. Well, what the story is called, Vibranium. Synthetic Vibranium. And for those of you who don't know, Vibranium is a surprisingly big element for the Marvel Universe. Put simply, Black Panther's country's economy is built off it. And he happens to be there, which is why he's in this story. He is there at this conference to make sure that this synthetic vibranium doesn't destroy his economy, because Wakanda, Black Panther's country, is the only one who produces this stuff. And let's see. Mary Jane is there for some reason. At this time, she's a TV soap opera star, so why she would be at a college facility, I honestly don't understand. But anyways, this is probably just an excuse to get Pete and T'Challa, Black Panther, all together and realize they're in the same place. And then, of course, Ironman flies in it because Tony Stark has business. Why is let's see. Tony Stark's just there because he's a businessman, I guess. Oh. Yeah. Not before MJ and Pig have a little romance. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. So the press conference goes off, and the leader, the scientist, or the company producing this stuff hold a demonstration where the company's head has an armed guard shoot him through what looks like a piece of tinfoil, but it's not. The tinfoil stops the bullet because this is actually this stuff, and that's just how strong it is. It can stop a bullet, although it itself is as thin as a piece of tinfoil. However, the guy is called away because there's a situation back in the labs. Unfortunately, it's revealed this stuff is so unstable that it just simply pulls itself apart into a different form of vibranium over time, or it turns itself into a substance that causes any metal thing around it to just melt. And, well, you know, big business and all this, this guy's just pushing through it. So, what happens next? Right, so next, we then cut to literally across the country, I think? I don't know where. Right, all the way from New York to Colorado, where a transport truck carrying Ultron is taking him to a secret base to keep him stored. Well, as the truck thinks they're keeping Ultron. Really, Ultron is just biding his time until the right moment, and then he drains all the energy and booms! Explodes the truck and escapes. But I don't actually know how he finds his way to... he finds his way to New York. Well, that is a question. Why get... I'm thinking too much. He finds his way to New York, where he has a robot factory hidden underground in the sewers to retry a former plane, the very plane he got caught with. Only this time, he hears about the vibranium and goes to collect it. Because apparently he knows how to get this synthetic vibranium to not melt himself. Although he was made by the very people who somehow make him smarter than the... Comics are weird, man. Anyway, so Ultron's there. Then we go to the Kingpin. Yes, the Kingpin. This story is big. The Kingpin, let's see, he also heard about the vibranium and has hired a special thief called... He's not a thief, he's like an assassin, or his name is Ghost. He can turn invisible or he can pass through walls, but he cannot do it at the same time. Yeah, but anyway, so he hires this guy to go steal the vibranium. However, due to the suspicions from the day before, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Black Panther are all searching the college just to get their own info on it. And of course, they run into each other in a big fight. It's such a big fight that Dearborn comes in, and apparently Dearborn all of a sudden transformed. Because, let's... Information will be coming from the Marvel Encyclopedia. Hopefully it's in here. I believe his name was Sunburst. Come on, S-U, S-O, S-O. No. S-U, S-T. Of course, this guy in here. I think he's called Sunburst. Sunturion. That's a stupid name. Anyway, Dearborn transformed because he is working for the Vibranium company, and honestly, this Dearborn guy, he's a real putz. He's so focused on his work that as long as what he thinks work is right, it's gotta be right. And he's willing to believe anything. He used to be I think this story says he used to work for Tony Stark, but I don't know. What comics are weird. One book will happen in Iron Man, then they'll referencing a Spider-Man, but you only follow Spider-Man, but you don't know what Iron Man is, and I don't follow Iron Man, and I only read Spider-Man, so you get the idea. Anyway, big fight, and everyone goes their ways. Is that right? What happens? Right, so Dearborn walks in on Spider-Man and Black Panther fighting this Ghost guy. He calls himself Ghost because, of course, Marvel and would have such a generic name already trademarked. But anyway, they fight. Spider-Man and Black Panther are fighting Ghost, and then Dearborn comes in and transforms and kicks all three of their butts. And then Iron Man just happens to fly by, or he came late to the party, but he also has suspicions. Came late, sees the commotion coming from the lab, and breaks in and stops Dearborn. And basically, it's revealed that Dearborn's going through like a Jekyll and Hyde thing. He gets angry, loses control, and Sunburst will appear or whatnot. But then, this is how it plays itself. And then Iron Man comes, knocks some sense into him, and Dearborn says he's back in control, and he even transforms his arm to prove that he's in full control at will. Anyway, so Dearborn tells him to leave because he honestly doesn't care about what's right and wrong, but he's a horrible pissant through and through. Anyway, so actually Ghost escapes, and Iron Man and Spider-Man and Black Panther, they agree to leave, but they also, with Dearborn, but naturally, once they're out of earshot, they agree to find their own. They all have, of course, their own sources of intel, and to basically split up and regroup later to find out what's what. Ghost goes back to Kingpin, who okay, turn right to it. No matter, I changed your objective anyway. Now I want you to bring me a sample of artificial vibranium so that my own staff can analyze and duplicate it in the process. You're to destroy as much rock slings of holdings as you can. Set their research back irreversibly. Good plan. I like it, especially the destroy part. Yeah, apparently Ghost has a problem with rocks. This company specifically, anyway. So that's all fine and good. And then, but meanwhile,
here's your story.
Right, sorry. I activated well, you see that screen in the background, it's you know what. Anyway, I activated somehow. Okay, so where was I? Ultron is building. Oh. So Ultron builds some soldiers who, unfortunately, with it just so happened to sneak onto Spider-Man and Black Panther. Black Panther and Spider-Man are sneaking onto the campus, and the soldiers just so happen to show up to steal from them, and they all think they're... And Black Panther and Spider-Man think they're soldiers from the Roxxon company, the Vibranium company, and the soldiers are just robots and think nothing of it. And anyway, they fight. And crap, I forgot what happens. All right, while they're fighting, while Spider-Man and Black Panther are fighting the robots, Ultron pops into the lab to steal him and some of the alloy, and he runs across Ghost, who's also there. Man, this is hard to keep track of. So, Ghost being a goon of all goons, of course, he's a supervillain, but he's still a goon to the Kingpin. And goons naturally attack things that don't go right. So, Ultron attacks him. Well, Ultron deals with Ghost. To Spider-Man and Black Panther deal with the robots. And Dearborn is just being a little putz all together. Oh, by this time, Dearborn immediately asked. There were instances of safety protocol that the company was not following, and Dearborn called his boss, the main guy, to ask for safety concerns, and he just hung up on him because he's a corporate oligarch and whatnot. So, Black Panther and Spider-Man are still fighting. Dearborn notices that Ghost and Ultron are in the lab, and they have to hightail the hell out of Dodge with all the whatever stuff they can get. So he gets a helicopter down, loads it up, flies off, and then Ironman comes and Dearborn, and they fire on Ironman. A stupid move, obviously. And that doesn't work. Ironman disables everything, causing Dearborn to transform. and fight him himself. Naturally, and all the while, Ultron figures out how to fight Ghost by throwing on the sprinklers and sorting out his works. Because Ghost has no powers, he uses technology to turn invisible and turn intangible. So, but of course, he was wearing high-tech circuits all exposed, so once the sprinklers got turned on, he completely shorted out and was And he's... I can't see it, but he's thrown through the wall of the building and hits a tree. Anyway, so while this is all going on, Dearborn and Tony are fighting, and actually, and what is it? Yeah, Dearborn tries blinding Stark, but in the process, he completely hits the helicopter, and causing it to go down. He's incapable of helping because that's not how his powers work. So he begs Iron Man to help him. Iron Man does save him. He thanks him. Then he tells Tony to... Yeah, Then he threatens... Tony does save the helicopter, lands it safely. Then Tony blatantly walks up to get info from the computer. Dearborn threatens to have him arrested, and Stark... he has the gall to arrest the people who just begged to save, who... It's his situation, they're even there in the first place. And Stark rightfully says... Oh, what? You're using a moment of crisis to download data from our computers? That's despicable and illegal. Stop at this instant or I'll have you arrested. You might want to think twice about that, Dearborn. A trial would only bring out whatever information Roxxon is trying to suppress. Yeah, and besides, this is Pete talking now. He's an Avenger, and we're reserve Avengers. We'll just say we were trying to save your innocent employees from those killer androids. Oh, just leave, Dearborn. Arthur's a friend of sorts. I wish we were on opposite sides. There could be more sides than we suspect. After all, someone sent those androids. That was Black Panther. Well, you can't tell, but that was Black Panther. You can't tell. You can't tell, but that was the Black Panther. And the Bushes. So, after this event, Ultron, Kingpin, Ghost goes back to Kingpin and tells them about Ultron. And then Kingpin gets the dumbest idea to work together with the killer robot who hates humanity. Because that always works. We'll all be killed by robots at one point. It's just going to happen. Ultron reluctantly agrees, and later on, and this brings us back to an agricultural lab who was also working in the college. Yeah, there's a subplot of two ag students working on an ag experiment they think hoo-ha science. Apparently vibrations could cause crops to grow faster, so apparently magnetic waves could microwaves apparently your microwave could cause a farmer to have two yields a year. Anyway, they are working on microwaves, and apparently this is causing the vibranium on the campus to accelerate and causing, as we see, the vibranium is causing metal, even as they speak, to melt. So, what happens? Ultron reluctantly agrees to work with Fist because he has no choice. It just works for the time being. Meanwhile, Iron Man and Black Panther and Spider-Man are at one of Stark's towers, going over the situation. They're basically figuring things out as they go. And meanwhile, Ultron is building another army. By the way, this whole time while Stark and Spider-Man are figuring things out, Black Panther is all, we gotta stop this or else my economy is ruined. Yeah, buddy, just calm down. I know it's a country, but come on. So, later, Pete and Black Panther just agreed to meet on college to investigate further, but Black Panther doesn't show, so Pete's just walking around wondering what happens. Then he realizes, yeah, Black Panther is basically Black Panther walks right up to the business guy with all the Vibranium and threatens him and gives himself away or whatever, and the guy tells him to screw off. And then he sends his goons to jump Black Panther in the park. This gives Spider-Man and Black Panther evidence to all head directly to the college, where it appears soldiers are setting up a force field around the Vibranium building. It's not soldiers, it's actually the Ultron robots setting up a force field so Ultron can sneak in under and steal it for himself. So now finally Dearborn's in the fight, and as you can see, and Ultron blasts through, and Ultron and an even bigger robot throws Dearborn through some crates, and Dearborn realizes that the metal in the crates are melting, which means that the Vibranium is disabling, and pretty soon it goes far enough, the entire city will collapse. Yeah, that's how badly this situation is. Let's see, and then what? So they're finally up shit creek. Dearborn finally got his head out of his ass and realized things are in serious danger. So they figure out a way to how to get rid of this stuff. The idea is to drill and transport the Vibranium into the Earth's core so the extreme heat will just vaporize it and get rid of it. Dearborn says he's still on company time and cannot ethically destroy company property. Dude, the entire city world is at stake and you're corporate putts. So naturally, Stark is forced to drill all the way to the center of the Earth, and or at least to the crust, until he reaches magma, drops all the Vibranium in the field, and gets the hell out of there before the system melts. And at the end of the day, Dearborn is met with his boss, the guy who caused all this, and who assures to Dearborn, no, we would never compromise human security. Everything is A-okay now. And the guy believes it. Let's see. I suppose I have to give a rating. Well, obviously, I'm out of a rig or don't rig. Totally rig. However, I warn you, it's a bit of a hassle to rig. Well, it was for me anyway. This book reprints all 3 annuals in their entirety, which, if they chopped them up for each story, that would be fine because you get a complete story altogether. However, no, it goes, you read the first part of the story and in the first book, and then all of a sudden it just stops, and you have to go all the way through that book until to get to the next annual. I had to jump. It took so long because I could jump around to each book because they were just going separated. So if you're looking for it, yeah, that'll be big of a hassle, but it's still a good story. Totally worth it. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe as you want. I'm Tony the Video Geek, and I will see you next time.